So we have one more point to talk about, and this is kind of like a A-B situation. We recently went to AMC to watch Alien, the 1979 Ridley Scott film Alien, and we also watched
45th anniversary.
45th.
And then the Mummy.
Go ahead.
The Mummy 25th anniversary.
25th anniversary of The Mummy and the 45th anniversary of Alien. Let's start off with the best part, Alien. Alien in the theater was fucking awesome, dude. I didn't think it would be that good. I thought I'd watch it in the theater and it'd feel outdated and the audio wouldn't feel too good and like the crowd wouldn't be into it. Like people would be making jokes about how old it looked, whatever, right? The thing is, and I should have thought of this, is that I was surrounded by other Alien enthusiasts. You know what I'm saying? I thought that it would be like a war of attrition, dude, people to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to see this film in its glory. Thankfully, I got exactly that. This film in its glory. And first of all, I want to say that they started off the movie by talking a conversation with Ridley Scott, and they had Fede Alvarez talking to Ridley Scott about how he made the originals. And dude, that shit was insightful as fuck. It was pretty cool. It was
so good. So good.
There was one.
It's a great way to introduce you to the movie. It's like welcome to Alien.
And the fact that no one talked over it made me think, okay, we're in good hands. That's my thing, right? Because like it was just an interview. If these were casual fans, they wouldn't give a fuck. They'd be on their phones, whatever, right? But here, it's like everyone paid attention, and it's as if everyone shared the same mentality as you and me. I really want to know how this film was made. And that's what that was. It was great. It was great. So one of the big things that I took away from that interview was that, you know, the part where a bunch of the crew members, they're in their suits and they're walking up onto the alien ship. There's two pieces here that really got me thinking. One was, how was the ship shot on such a low budget? Well, what they did was that they just had a camera on the fucking the screen of the camera feed, and they recorded that and made it mad staticky because the fucking model that they had was so incredibly small, it was hard to get any kind of good shots of it to make it large scale. So it's like, well, why don't we record the fucking camera instead and make it...
They shot it on Super 8 footage, which, if you guys don't know, is really small film.
Right. I'll let Squeedo talk about this. I'll let Squeedo talk about it.
Super 8 is kind of like the equivalent of like a really small like cassette tape, kind of. And so the way they did it was that they shot it on Super 8 film, which is really small, and then they just overlaid it with a bunch of, effects. And they played it on the TV that Ash was looking at.
Right.
So it's kind of like, body cam of like the suits that they were wearing.
It's his perspective. Yeah.
So, and they did that to show the scale of it, because they couldn't do it with normal cameras, because like you said, the miniature was too small. So shooting it on Super 8, which is really fucking small, makes the ship look that much bigger. And then they kind of obscured it so that you don't really see the low quality of the camera.
Which is what they had to do. They didn't have a big budget.
It's the problem solving of filmmaking. That's all it is. Filmmaking is just problem solving.
Yeah, especially being a director.
They did a great job with that one.
And so you add that, and then you have the second piece, which I thought was fucking hilarious, is that the scene where a bunch of the crew members are in suits and they're walking up to the ship and they're about to enter, and there's like this big shot of the ship. If there were adults in that suit, they would have seemed too big for the ship, and it wouldn't have been a proper sense of scale. So they literally put children in those suits and had them walk into the fucking opening. Oh my god. Ridiculous. I had no idea those were children. Are you kidding me?
Neither.
My immersion is broken. Every time I see that, I'm thinking 6-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck?
Every time that shot comes up now, that's all I'm thinking.
That's ridiculous. Oh, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love the movie magic. Because I would have never known. In a million years, if Ridley Scott never said anything, I would have never known.
Yeah. I think specifically it was Ridley Scott's kids, too.
Yeah, it was. It was. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, all right, guys, get in costume. We need to film you.
Redonkulous, son. Redonkulous. Jesus Christ. So
interesting.
So let me talk a little bit about the introduction to Alien. Now, we all know that crazy good fucking opening crawl, but you have not experienced that opening intro until you've seen it in a theater. Period.
It's so good.
It's perfect. Bro, I was next to Squeedo and I was like, oh shit, rubbing my hands together. Like, I felt goosebumps in that theater that evening. Holy shit. Dude, it was so fucking badass to look at because you just hear the dead silence of space, a little bit of music, and just the slow opening crawl is like, damn, it really be silent in space. Wild. You know? Just, it was perfection. It was actually perfection, that opening crawl. Now, I want you to talk about what you felt watching that film in theaters. You talk to me. How did you feel about it?
So this was only my second time watching Alien.
I've seen that shit at least 6 times. I love it. Continue.
And seeing it in theaters, it felt like watching the movie for the first time again.
We in the 80s, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 79. We in 79.
I really felt like I went back in time. But what is really crazy to me is how, this is the 45th anniversary, and the presentation is still so much better than a lot of current movies.
Ooh, we breaking hearts today. Today.
And it's just, you were talking about this after the movie. It's just the shots of the inside of the Nostromo.
Yes.
They show you everything.
Everything.
And you're like, this is real. Like, this is tangible. This is a real place you can walk through. And so, later when you see the characters walking down these corridors, it feels familiar.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're growing accustomed to this place as the film goes on. And it feels lived in. And it's just, I can't even, find the words to describe it. But it's so good how they present everything to you. It's tangible. It's really tangible. And, this film was shot in 1979. And it does not detract from the movie at all. It
Absolutely
still looks really good. It feels good. The atmosphere is so rich, and it's tense. It is tense as hell. Even if I've seen the movie before and I knew it was going to happen, it is tense, and that's important.
One thing that I do want to mention is watching it in theaters really gives you a new perspective on it, because I never paid more attention to a movie than when I watched Alien in theaters. I'm being honest. Like, I never really rewatch films in theaters. Every now and again I do. I noticed some things that I didn't really make a comparison to before until I watched it in theaters. For example, the cat giveaway. Fact is, at the beginning, when the first character was killed, when pursuing the cat, you kind of made the decision in your head that, okay, the cat is associated with negative, with someone being killed. And so they replicated it near the end when Ripley was by herself, pursuing the cat. And the other 2 individuals were being sent away to, we're going to build this. We're going to take the flamethrowers. We're good. We're set. We're together. Ripley's going to be by herself, and she's going to be pursuing the cat, which someone was killed earlier for pursuing. But no, they flip it on your head entirely, and they have the 2 people who were armed and together be killed by the alien at the same time. A complete twist and flip on the head that's subtle enough to work. It's a classic case of the bait and switch. Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. So I think watching Alien in theaters is something that I think when the 50th anniversary comes around, everyone needs to be a part of. They need to see it.
Yeah.
They need to see it.
They need to re-release it again.
Because it's damn special. It's damn special. And
yeah.
Is there much more I can add to this other than this experience was something special, something paramount, something?
That's what I'm trying to think of, because the movie is good.
The movie's great.
Good.
The movie's a 10 out of 10. I want to point that out right now.
Yeah.
And this theater experience was a 10 out of 10. I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. It's a 10 out of 10. I love you. I remember you talking. You just talked about the setting up of the scene, the slow shots of all the hallways. Let me tell you something about the cinematography in this film. The beginning, where you're getting a slow crawl, and then it leads to a segue of all the slow shots of the Nostromo, the slow shots of the hallways, the rooms, the architecture, the way everything is built. A lot of movies don't like to do that, because a lot of movies will think, oh, well, we can leave this open for sequels, that kind of thing. Alien gives you a very set universe to be in. They give you a very not realistic, but they give you a setting to immerse yourself in, and that's what those opening shots are. Is you're in this cramped tin can, you're in this spaceship, and it feels like a real place because of those opening shots. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's fucking beautiful, and you learn little things as you watch the characters do their daily ops and their activities. For example, when they all exit out of the pods, you gather the information. Okay, they've been in space for a long time. Okay, sleeper pods, they pass time for you. That kind of thing. And so you're learning more information about the universe that isn't really too necessary to the story, because this stuff is interesting to witness in real time. It's as if they thought of everything. They put they put this crew into a world that already exists. They put these people in concept. Yeah, it already exists in concept to them. They put these people in a world where it's a massive trade federation, where there's other planets, there's space travel, and this little ship is a small, insignificant piece of it. And so you feel like these are individuals in an actual world, and it makes the horror feel that much more significant. It's awesome, man. I can tell you that right now.
The movie is such a slow burn without getting boring.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're constantly learning new things.
You're constantly learning new things, and the charisma of the actors behind it definitely help.
Yeah, it feels like these people have known each other for a long time. Yes. They work together, they get along, and, there's some people that are like, all right, you're iffy, but what kind of workplace doesn't have that?
Right, and that's the thing, right? Is that they're not all like blindly like each other. They're not all like whatever. They actually have conflicts and quarrels with one another. Like, for example, the engineers, the Ash and the other guy, the guy who got killed near the end. What was his name?
I don't remember.
Okay, but you get it. The engineers, they have a problem with like the higher ups telling them what to do. It's like, what the fuck is she gonna do when she gets here? You know what I mean? That kind of shit. It shows character. It shows. The thing is, these characters are just killed off by the alien. They're not the main characters. Yet they're so fleshed out. They're humans. They're human beings with decent writing and morals and goals. Just like how the engineers just don't give a shit about saving alien technology. They just want to pay. Are they going to get a pay bump for this? That kind of thing. They're the working men. You know what I mean? So it's so... The characters are so different, diversified, and it feels real. So when the horror eventually does come and people start dying, you feel that because you've had so much time to get acclimated to these characters, So, once again, the slow burn thing that just can't really be replicated too well nowadays. Every now and again, sure, but not often, So,
yeah. And even if this movie was like, if you take away all like the space and, all the world building and everything, and even just as a plain horror movie, it outclasses so many others.
Very much so, because of the feeling of dread.
By building the characters.
Absolutely, through building the characters and the feeling of dread throughout. All right. At the end of the day, they make everything seem precarious. We're in a ship that's falling apart. We're in an alien planet no one knows about. We're out of this system where no one else can find us. They make literally every single odd put against the humans. You understand? Yeah. And so you start to feel perilous. You start to feel hopeless. That kind of thing throughout the entire film. First of all, I want to say right now, Sigourney Weaver in this movie. Allow me to be misogynistic. Listen, 1979, Sigourney Weaver. All right, I'll shut up. But you get it. All right, come on, say it. But besides that, Sigourney Weaver pulls her role off to a T. She's the unlikely hero here. You don't expect her to be the final girl. You just don't. You expect the more likable person to be the final character. The engineer. So anyway, come on, say
I was just thinking myself that it's interesting to me that in this first Alien movie, Ripley doesn't feel like the main character.
She doesn't at all till the very end.
Everyone feels equal.
Everyone feels equal, and sometimes some people feel more significant, but then they get snuffed out like Captain Dallas. No, I'll do it, and then he gets killed. You know what I mean? It's crazy shit to witness that these are human beings. This doesn't feel like a story. This feels like people who are stuck in a fucking tin can with an alien psycho killer. That's all it feels like. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, for example, one thing I want to point out: Ripley when she's leaving, you know, and like, the I gotta blow up the ship. Oh, I have to cancel it. Oh, it won't cancel. You can feel that genuine fear. And when she started the countdown and she was running to the pod, she saw the alien and she doubled back. She didn't attack it. She didn't try to distract it. She doubled back. Her fear got the best of her, and that's what caused her to be delayed so much. You know, I felt like that was probably the realest moment of the entire movie, was that initial fear being so overpowered that she thought it would be better to double back and cancel on these plans so she can think of something else rather than trying to find a way to distract him and push past him. That initial time, that first time that she saw the alien on the way back, she froze and ran away. You know, that it shows that, once again, this person is human, not just naturally courageous, and not initially is going to do the right thing. But eventually, Ripley learns from her mistakes and gets out of there eventually, you know? So it's, once again, a way for them to pull that fear and stretch it out even more and to pull that dread out, because she almost turns off the bombing sequence. She's so close. Yeah. But the fact that it's so cumbersome to turn it off is enough for her not to get it. And it's like, oh shit, well, she's going to have to do it now. And when her back is against the wall is when she finally succeeds. You know, so, I mean, there are so many little things in this film that are so head and shoulders over the rest of the film industry. I can't even fathom how damn good this film is, was, and still is. It stands on its own merits. It's still a 10 out of 10. The only thing is... Go ahead.
Well, one thing I love about specifically Sigourney Weaver's performance, one moment that really stuck out to me was when she was activating the self-destruct sequence. You know, it's, you know, the ship is going crazy, all this shit is happening, and then the engineer and the girl just died. They were just killed by the alien.
Right.
So Ripley's like activating all of this, and she's not saying anything, but she starts crying. And I like that you can see just in her face the fear of the moment, and also she's grieving her friends. She's the last one left, and she's grieving everybody, and she doesn't have to say a word.
She's not a badass. She's not a superhero. She's not the main character. She's just some girl. She's just a fucking person who runs a ship. That's all it is. She's a human being. And so those moments are what's paramount to character building. It is what it is.
I love that scene, that moment.
I think the only criticism I have of this film is how some of the audio, the dialogue for the dialogue is captured. It is not aged well at all. Some of it's way too quiet, you know. But besides that, beautiful.
That's a nitpick.
That's a massive nitpick. That's a massive nitpick. Absolutely. But if I had to pick one, because no film is perfect, that's one. Another nitpick of this film is when the engineer and the woman are killed near the end, the one who gets frozen, right? He kills the engineer, and then when he turns around is about to kill her, that shot is weird. The way he's like kind of floating across, you know, to get her as if it's zero gravity. Yeah. That's weird. That being said, those are really the only two nitpicks, not even critiques, right? That I have for the film. Those two things, and maybe like one other small thing, but that's it. You know, one thing I also want to praise this movie for is that fucking android reveal. They talk about it the entire movie, but they don't really say, like, the thing is, they talk about it, but you don't suspect anything because he looks human. He acts human. He does, you know. And then at the end, when he gets decapitated, it's just another massive reveal. It's like, oh shit. That's what they were talking about. And then throughout the film, you notice that they knew. They all knew. It's just that you didn't know because you aren't in that universe yet until they revealed it. That's another reason why this film is so memorable. It's because of the surprises. The alien popping out of the guy's chest. The android reveal. The alien still being on the pod at the end. You know, those big reveals where it just circumvents your expectations massively is one of the reasons, probably the biggest reason why this film is still remembered to this day. It's the reveal. It's the twist. You know, and
Yeah.
it's the way that they flip everything on your head. Once again, the death of Captain Dallas. You don't expect him to die because he's the leader. You know what I mean? He's the hero figure, and he dies literally. Is he like the second guy? He's the second guy who dies.
He's the second guy.
You know, so you expect him to be the hero and to save. No, he gets snuffed out immediately, and you don't expect that. You know, because he's got a flamethrower. Oh, you know, I'm going to push this alien back. I have a plan. I'm confident. No, you ain't. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? He's the third guy who dies. Sorry. You got Lambert and the guy who had the... Sorry, not Lambert. You have the guy who had the chest burster. He died.
Yes.
And then you have the one of the engineers get killed by the cat. The cat killed him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
The cat killed him. But then the third guy was Captain Dallas. So it's wild. So,
Yeah.
You know, Captain Dallas actually, in Alien Isolation, I made a series on that, by the way. Awesome. Alien Isolation, Captain Dallas actually left he has a videotape on the Sevastopol station that you explore, and you can listen to it. It's like a message that he sent out, a mass message or whatever. It's like, he sent, because remember how we talked about how he didn't want this android, like he wanted somebody else, his old guy, but then they threw him in last minute. Well, in that audio tape, it's the message that he sent. He complained about it. And he's like, actually, I wanted this guy. I didn't want Ash or whoever the fuck his name is, you know? And so it's just the little bits of detail in Alien Isolation that I really like. But Alien, the first movie, in theaters, 10 out of 10 experience. Would watch it again. I will watch it again when it comes out in theaters again because it has to. It's one of the greats, and it's up there.
It's a classic.
It's a Mount Rushmore kind of film. That's it.
It's a classic.
Classic. Anything else you had to say about that, Sweeto?
No, I got nothing to add.
It was beautiful. All right, beautiful.
Beautiful movie.
Beautiful movie. That's it.